What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. And in this video we're going to go on to Tier Maker to rank every single first year player for 2020 in the AFL. I've gathered around 30 of the 70 players who made their AFL debut in 2020 as if I had everyone, there'd just be too many to rank off. Like, I'm not going to go over players who have only played the one game. Simple rankings, S, A, B, C, D. Pretty self-explanatory, and yeah, let's just get straight into it. Alrighty, first player, we've got Jake Arts, and he's had a pretty good, we'll zoom in a little bit. Yeah, Jakey Arts, he's had a pretty good season. He's kicked 11 goals from his 11 games, which is pretty good stuff for a first-year player. He's been undershadowed, I reckon. He's not many people have, noticed him. Definitely not me. I knew who he was, but I didn't really know he was that good. So 11 goals, 11 games, put him in the top end of B. Brad Close, he's been another pretty good player for the Cats. Cats have been exceptional the last 8 weeks, and he's fit his place into the side perfectly. I don't think he's missed a game since he's been in the side. So Brad Close, his numbers might not be the highest in the world, but I've seen him play, and he's skillful. He knows what he's doing. So I'm going to chuck him into the Bs as well. Tyler Brown, brother of Callum Brown, he's also playing some good footy. He's fit himself a spot in the Collingwood side, which is quite hard to do. He's averaging around 12 touches a game. He had a really good game against the Suns, 15 touches and 2 goals. Probably will win the Rising Star nomination, but yeah, gonna put him into B as well. So 3 Bs, but I reckon this player is a tier above the other 3 in Connor Buderick. Chuck him into A's. Very good defender, 15, 16 touches, averaged. He's played every game this season for the Suns. Rising Star nomination in round 3, I think it was, and he's probably a lock for the under 22 All-Australian side, not gonna lie. The next player we've got is Dylan Stevens. I think he's played around 11 or 12 games for the Swans. 11 or 12 games is quite a few, but quite a lot actually, but I haven't really noticed him. Dylan Stevens, he's kicked I think 6 or 7 goals, so he's been alright. I reckon we'll chuck him into Bs. I haven't seen a lot from him, but I think he's done some good stuff. Sam Flanders, he's another Suns player. There's a lot on this list, by the way, but I think he's probably out of all the worst of the lot. I think his numbers are average. Hasn't played too many games, so we'll probably chuck him to C's. Michael Frederick, he's a bit of a cult figure at the Dockers. He's playing some pretty good footy. He's I think he's played around 8 or 9 games. He's kicked 4 goals, 5, so he would have converted to goals. He would have been even better, but if he improves the accuracy, then he could be, I think he's picked 60 as well. So Michael Frederick, probably so far he's not complete, but I feel like it's quite harsh chucking him to C because he's gained a spot in the side ever since. So you know what, we're going to chuck him into the end of Bs, but we might do some reshuffling. Someone else who I reckon probably should deserve Bs, even though he hasn't played a lot of footy, is Mitch Giorgiotis. He's played 6 games, I think he's kicked 6 goals. He won a Rising Star nomination against the Demons in a pretty good performance. So I think based off that, you're probably just given to Bs. He's definitely done enough from the very little amount of games he's played, but I think he's injured, so that's why he's not playing that much. Hayden Young, another player who's the Dockers have picked up, and he's played some good footy, averaging 11 touches. He's played most games, I think, and I think he was one of their high draft picks. So I don't know. I think he's probably done a bit better than Michael Frederick, so I'll chuck him above Mitch Giorgiotis. Jack Mahoney, however you want to pronounce it, for the Roos. He's played, I think, 7 or 8 games. He's averaging like 6 touches, so he's not really done a lot. Every man and their dog can get into the Roos side, and I know the Roos now, they're pretty much given up, so they're playing these young players, which is good, but I think probably based off everyone else, he's probably a C. Maxi King. Many can't argue that he's going to go straight to the A's. He's kicked 19 goals, 14 games. I know lately a lot of people have been giving him crap about, giving him shit due to underperforming, which I find is, garbage. Yes, he hasn't played the greatest past few weeks, but he's going to be a star in the making. And he's still potentially a Rising Star medal smoky, but yeah, I won't see that happening. But Maxi King, been a really good player for the Saints and definitely deserving of A. Lachlan Aish. Now, was picked 4 for the Giants, but I don't think he's played too many games and has done a lot. I know the Giants have been pretty poor this year, so I'm going to put him top as C. I don't think he's done a lot. mistake me if I'm wrong, but I'm just going to chuck him top of C. Lukey Jackson, yeah, when he was playing, he was influential. He's exciting. You know, the stuff he does turns to gold a lot of the times. He's good ruckman. He was playing when Gawn was out, and then I think he got injured, so Bruce got back into the side. But based off the 6 or so games, he's kicked 4 or 5 goals. I think he's definitely probably the beast. And once he bulks up a bit, I reckon he's going to be one of the star players of the comp. Next up, we got Matt Contrell. Yeah, he's done some good things for the Blues. He's played, I don't know how many games, probably like a handful. He kicked the match winner against the Swans, and then he pumped everyone up with that celebration. That was massive. He got dropped the week after though. I don't know why, but Matty Contrell, I reckon top of C. Probably needs to show a little bit more, and that's why he's in and out of the side a few times. Ned McKendry, one of the few shining lights for the Crows. He's averaging a goal a game. I think he's averaging like 8 or so, 9 touches a game, but he's influential, and he's one of the few shining lights for the Crows. He's played, yeah, good footy. So I'm going to put him into end of A's, I reckon. Might be a bit controversial because he's a Crow player, and, you know, you shouldn't be putting Crows players in the top category, but I actually think he's played some good footy. So we'll actually chuck him in the A's. Irving Mosquito. So we all know his feel-good story against the Tigers where he booted 2 goals. Absolutely electric. And then he's gone quiet in the last 3 weeks. Yes, we all know the ACL injury against the Cats. But yeah, even in those 3 games, he really wasn't in the contest. I think C's for Mozzie. He's only played the 4 games, so can't rate him too harshly, and I'm hoping to see some great footy from Mosquito in 2022. Noah Anderson, he's he's got to be up to the A's. He's averaging 17, 16 touches. Pick 2, that's why he's pick 2. He's played every game, won a Rising Star nomination, probably a good chance in winning the Rising Star altogether. And yeah, not a lot you can say. He's just been consistent. Keziah Pickett, Cozzy. Yeah, he's been pretty decent. I've watched him, you know, in the Melbourne games. I know Doss, every time he streams the Melbourne games, he's always like, Cozzy, you know, he's always getting around him. He's a very exciting player. Reminds me of, you know, Liam Jarrow or Jeffy Garland. He's exciting. Every time he gets the ball, it seems like he's going to, you know, do something special. So, only the 7 goals though, so I thought he would have kicked more, but he's been applying lots of forward pressure. He's played around 14 games, so he's been in the spot team ever since his debut. So yeah, I reckon it's safe to put him next to his teammate in the Bs. Isaac Rankin, he was just so exciting in his first few games. Dropped off a little bit, but every time he gets the ball, it seems like it's going to turn into gold. Yeah, I think probably from what we've seen, it's safe to put him at the end of A's, I reckon. Isaac Rankin. Next up, we got Jake Riccardi, and another player who's been absolutely phenomenal in the last 5 weeks. He kicked 4 goals in his first game, never looked back since. Was awesome in the Blues win. He's kicked 8 goals from the 4 games he's played, and I think due to his only playing the 4 games, we're going to put him to B. I reckon next to Jakey Arts, but yeah, I mean, if he continues the form, he's going to... You never know. He's an absolute steal. I don't know where the Giants picked him, but he's been playing some great footy. Matty Rowell, we all know he's the GOAT. Obviously, he got injured against the Cats, and his career is, or his season's done. People are saying he was going to win the Brownlow. I wouldn't have gone that far, but he was absolutely phenomenal in his first 5 games. And look, if we're going to have to put in S, I know it's a bit controversial since his season's over, but sure, you guys love Matt Rowell that much that surely not many people will argue against putting him into S. Yes, you know, he's not going to win the Rising Star or anything, but he's definitely, out of all these players, the best in terms of skill and talent. Sam Draper, fellow member of the channel Sammy GFC. They're not a fan of Draper, I don't think. And he's not done a lot in the Bombers outfit, in and out of the side. So I reckon, it's harsh, but we've got to put someone in D. So we'll just put Sam Draper in D. And speaking of putting people in Ds, Sam Wicks, all right for the Swans. Played 6 games, 3 goals. Chuck him here. I don't think he's worthy of D. He's played a few good games, so I reckon put him between Flanders and Mosquito. Caleb Sarong, absolutely massive. He's the reason why the Dockers are they're contending for finals. They're not going to make it, but they've bloody been great in the last few weeks. So Sarong, averaging 17 touches. Not much wrong I can say about him. His ball movement's clean. He's skillful. He was, I think, pick 6, pick 5. He was a high draft pick as well. So we're going to put Sarong probably in the top 3. Probably been top 3 or 4 first year plays this year. Elijah Taylor, he's been in the news for all the wrong reasons, unfortunately, with the COVID breaches and now, being pressed charges, beating his wife. So that's not great for him. And he's only played the 4 games, kicked the 1 goal. So unfortunately for Elijah Taylor, you got to give him D. Tom Berry, I don't know if he's related to Jared Berry, but yeah, I don't think he's done a lot for the Lions. He's been a bit average, so we might chuck him into D's as well. Trey Rusco, I think he was playing a few games in the absence of DeGoey and Stevenson. He performed. He kicked the 5 goals in the 4 games. He was impressive from the times he played. I'll chuck him to B's. End of B's, Trey Rusco. Probably needs to play some more games and, so we actually know how well he is, obviously, but he's done some good stuff. Lathan Vandermeer, he's played a handful of games as well for the Doggies. 12 games, 9 goals, so that's not bad as a first gamer. He's probably chuck him in the B's as well, above Pickett. Will Day, probably, yeah, one of the Hawks' bright shining talent. He's been massive since he made his debut against the Pies in round, I think, 6 or 7. Yeah, averaging 16, 17 touches a game. Had a massive game. I think he had 23 touches. Was it against the Dogs or someone else, but very recently. But yeah, we're going to put Will Day, probably his 4th or 5th best player, first year player in 2020. We got Will Hamill, who's been quite average for the Crows. Like, he was getting games when they were absolutely horrible and they were just playing young talent. And I think he got dropped against the Roos by only touching them all once, and he hasn't had a game since. So I might just put him in the D's. So that's our list, but I think we want to reshuffle, put a few of the B's down to C's, I reckon. I reckon Rusco, even though he's done well, I think we'll chuck him a little bit down. So chuck down Rusco. Giorgiotis and Frederick, they're just borderline, I reckon. Stevens as well. Tyler Brown, I think these 4 players are they've been consistent. These 5, I reckon, with Vandermeer. You could argue putting Mosquito there as well, but from his first game, I think it's too harsh. And then the last 4 are pretty much, they've played 5 or so games but have done nothing. So yeah, I reckon that's good enough for my the best first year players in 2020. Yes, the season's not over, but there's only 1 round to go. I did make this so I can put it in the description, and yeah, you guys can do it yourself. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe for more AFL content. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Comment down below your thoughts on the best first year player in 2020, and I'll see you guys very soon in my next video. Cheers.